Hi, welcome to video number 3 in our 3-part series of working with graphics. In video number 1, we took a look at creating and then editing, manipulating your own graphic objects. In video number 2, we looked at working with photos, bringing those into the picture, so to speak, working with the same tools and techniques that you had earlier, but also adding in some new tools that were specific to working with photos. Today in part 3, we just want to kind of wrap it up a little bit. I want to remind you of a few of those techniques and how those will come into play if you're building a Bitmoji classroom. And then I've been promising you lots of extra resources. So we're going to get to a lot of resources today. In the activities that we've looked at thus far, we have created learning activities. We can now use those activities in a variety of ways, whether it's on a smartboard activity. You may be having students do things on their Chromebook or the iPad. It may even be something that you upload and use as part of a Kahoot or a Quizzes or other platform activity, maybe a piece of a Google Slide, a Google Classroom, a Google Form. Lots of ways you can incorporate graphics into the work that you're doing in the classroom. Today, let's start by looking at how we can use what we've been learning, not just for creating activities for other learning activities, but how could we use them as part of building a Bitmoji classroom? Because that's the thing that a lot of people are doing right now. And so let's dive into that in particular and look at how we can use our graphic skills. Since we're focusing on resources today, and we're kind of using our last examples with Bitmojis and Bitmoji Classrooms, it makes sense to start with a great Bitmoji resource. On Teachers Pay Teachers, this is something you should download if you want to work with Bitmoji Classrooms. This is from a person who goes by the name of Keen on Education in Teachers Pay Teachers, and you can see it is free to download. And it is a massive collection of resources that you can use with your Bitmoji classrooms. You'll see it's a slide deck, more than 380 slides at the moment. It's huge and it's wonderful. So let's just go over and take a look at that. I've got it downloaded here, and because it is so massive, it sometimes takes a little bit of time to load and scroll, but she will give you ideas on how to use it. She will give you tips on how to design your Bitmoji classroom if you want. And then as you scroll through, you will see you have all kinds of resources. If you want to build your own room from scratch, you can start with just a floor and a wall. And then you can start adding items. Do you want windows? Do you want doors? Would you rather be in a library? It just keeps going, so many different variations. Then you get to, what do you want on the floor of your room? Mats and rugs of all kinds. If we keep scrolling down, there will be, things to hang on the wall, posters, maps. You will find you can decorate your room with all kinds of lighting fixtures. You can throw up easels or art activities or whiteboards or chalkboards. That's a great place then to throw in a text box so that it looks like you've written a message to your students on these items. Bookshelves to put all kinds of things on. And you can see I'm just scrolling and scrolling, and there's so much there. I'm going to grab the scroll bar and go way down the list so that we don't have to just keep scrolling one item at a time. You will see there will be items for how to set up and play a memory game. There will be whole room items where you can pull different things. There will be some rooms that are already preset for you. Oh, yes, you could put yourself out in the wild if you wanted, or use this as an opening for a video about animals in the classroom. But you can just keep going, and then there will be other places. You can find yourself in an art room. You can find yourself in all kinds of locations, even down to classrooms that are sort of preset for you. So you can have a room that you want to be in. You can find it's unending the amount of items that she has here. And just because you pick a room, if I pick this room, I can change everything in this room. I don't have to keep that rug. I don't have to keep that background. I can modify things any way that I want. So let's take a look at how we can use some of these resources, use the techniques that we've already learned to sort of modify them a bit. So I am going to jump to, well, way back up the list a little bit. I want to grab slide 268. So that's this one. Here is a teacher who has built a classroom, and she's added a lot of things. All of these posters have links, and you can click on things and go find resources. I'm going to copy this whole room. So how do I do that? I've got the slide selected over here on the left. I'm just going to right click on it and copy. That will copy the whole slide. Now I just go to my new untitled slide deck, come over to the left column, just click down there and paste. And that's going to paste in the entire thing. Now, I do want to keep the original styles because I don't want fonts to be adjusted in any way. I don't need to link back to her slide deck. If she makes a change, I don't want the change to show up on mine. So I'm just going to keep the original styles, and there we go. Now I can come up here and delete this extra slide that popped up there, and here I am. Now, if I'm going to make this my room, this is going to be the tech support office, I need to modify this a little bit. I'm going to close the sidebar over here. We're not going to change the theme just to give me more space to work. First thing I want to do is I need to put me in the room, not this particular teacher. So I could just delete that, but instead I'm going to move it out of the way for just a minute so that you can see that I can go to my Bitmojis and I can say, I can type in work, and I'm going to get all kinds of options, and there is my Bitmoji, the exact same Bitmoji, but with me. So I copied it. Now I'm going to paste it, and now I'm the one in the classroom and not her. I don't need that little sign that got left behind there. So now you can see, I wanted to hang on to the old one just so you can see, all she did was grab her Bitmoji and bring it into the room. And that's how she created herself sitting behind the desk. So now I'll go over, I'll delete her out of the way. So there I am. I can tweak this a little bit to make it look better. She had a sign on the front of her desk. I could do that. I'm going to go to my format options because, you know, I like to throw in a bit of a drop shadow. It just gives things a little bit of depth there. And I'm pretty happy with how that's positioned. I'm going to scoot it over a little bit. I'm just clicking the arrows on my keyboard now to make these sort of fine adjustments. And there we go. I'm happy with that. However, it's supposed to be the tech center, right? You're coming to me for tech help. So I do need to have a laptop here in front of me. I know there's one over here on the table, but I'm never that far away from my computer, let's be honest. So let's go back to the Bitmoji Classroom. And I'm going to go, I've already made a note so that I don't have to look around quite as much. I'm going to go down to slide 96. That's the one I'm looking for. Whoops, I scrolled a little too far. Let's get to slide 96. That's where there's some computers. I'm going to grab that Mac laptop right there. All I have to do is right click and copy, and then come to my room, right click and paste. And here's my laptop. Now I'm going to put it down here on the desk. I can't really remove the items on the desk. That's part of my original Bitmoji, but that's okay. I'm just going to squeeze this in there. It's just going to look like it's crowded in there. I'm going to kind of cover up that box that has pins in it there, so that it looks like it's just sort of jammed in there between the books and the stapler and the phone. And so now I've got a laptop on my desk to work with, and I'm answering the phone, and I'm making notes, and I got my coffee cup, and now I've got my desk set. Now, she has gone into either a Bitmoji handbook or maybe out on the web to other Bitmoji resources, and she's found all these post-it notes. She's found the posters that she wanted to put on the wall. My guess is most of those came from the Bitmoji Classroom handbook because all of those kinds of resources are in there. And you can see she's created links. Now, I would not want all of those links because that's not what I'm linking to. And since I said don't maintain the links, it's linking to a slide that's been deleted anyway. So I would just eliminate that link altogether. And now it's just a text box. And I would delete the text, put in my own text, and maybe that would be a link to, let's see, let's get all this out of the way. Now it would be a link to our new website that we just introduced. Here, let's give it a name. All right. Now I can take that text and that note and make that a link. So I would do that for all of the post-its that I wanted to keep or any of the resources that I wanted to keep. I would just substitute my information for the information that was already there. However, there's a lot there. And I might just want to take this whole bulletin board, delete it, throw up a whiteboard back there, and put a different message. I might not want all of these posters over here, but I might want a way to contact me, and I might want something that says about me. So I would certainly keep some of those things. But now you've taken the room, you're going to use the techniques that you know about managing graphics now to adjust all of those things. Remember, you can move things forward and backward. If I wanted to move this plant over here and have it close to my desk, now it's sort of tucked back there behind my desk a little bit, and that's fine. But maybe I want it sitting in front of my desk. You'll remember how to do that. We go up to our Arrange menu, and in the order, we just bring it forward. Now that bringing it forward didn't bring it far enough. So we would repeat that again, bring it forward until we get it where we want. Because there's multiple layers, and we don't know exactly which layer was used when they created that plant. Up, now it's in the front. Now I can bring it down so that it looks like it's sitting where I want it. Again, you know me, I'm going to throw in a drop shadow, give it a little depth. Now I've got the plant in front of my desk. So you are going to use your techniques to create your items inside the room, but you've got so much to pull from with the Bitmoji handbook that it makes it pretty easy to do that. Now I do want to make sure that you know how to add the link. So I'm just going to completely get rid of this over here. I want that whole box to go away. And if I was going to have someone have a contact, I would put in a text box right here. Let's make it the size of the screen. And then I would put in, contact me. And that's a little too large to fit, so let's adjust our text so that it fits on there the way I want. Let's make it bold. I want to center it in there. And now I need to have that be a link. And so I want that to be a link to my email. So that's the link that I want to be there. The text says contact me. If they click on it, that's where they're going to go. So if they click on that, it would say send to ehardin@crec.org. They would click that link. They would get their email. So that's how you're going to add links if that's what you want to do. If you just want to add information, you can do that as well. But you can see we're taking that, using their basics, and then we're modifying it the way we want. Now, let's take one more item. I want to come over and grab a different classroom from them. I want to go to slide 271. So that's way down there. And that is this space slide about space. Again, I'm going to copy the slide. I'm going to come to my presentation, and I'm going to paste the slide. So now I have a second room to work with, and I don't want to link to the original. Now I pulled this one over here just for a couple of reasons. The Bitmoji Classroom Handbook, the reason it is free to use, she doesn't charge you for it, is because she did not create all these resources. Her work, which was a huge effort, was to go through so many things on the internet and just find free resources and start pulling them together in one location so that we have that advantage that we don't have to go out and search. So this is a room that she found and just threw it in here so that it's an example, it's background that we can work with. If you want to do something about space, it gives you a template for your space activity. But I want you to see that everything that she found is not done in the way that we might want to do it. So you may have to do some tweaking. For example, this person wanted you to look out the window and see this rocket blasting off out there. But when she put in the window and the rocket, she just threw in the window and then she put the picture of the rocket over the front. That does not look like you're looking out the window. So we know what we have to do here. We have to take this rocket and push it back. So we can send it backward. That doesn't get it behind the window yet. Let's send it backward again. Not there yet. Send it backward again. And there we go. Now it looks like you're looking at something outside the window. There are multiple layers, keep that in mind. And I would do what I just did here and what I did with the plant earlier. I would always do the bring forward or send backward one step at a time, one layer at a time, rather than saying send to back or bring to front. Because if you send to back, it might jump back behind the brick wall background and now you can't even see it anymore. It's hard to select it and work with it. So I would take it one step at a time until I got it where I wanted it. And that makes it look like it's out the window. Another piece that you might want to look at if you're borrowing from other people like this says click on me to see the space station live. If you click there, you don't see the space station live because you're not clicking on a link. So I think that's a little misleading. The text says click on me, but there is no link for the text. The link is actually out here on the television. If you click on the television, then you can go to the live feed from the International Space Station. So if I were you and had this kind of situation, I would take whatever link this is, I would copy that link, then I would come in here and select this text, or even select the whole text box and add a link. Put that link in there so that if people click on the text box, they would get the link. I would do the same with the text itself. Add the link, boom. Now, whether you click on the TV or the text, you're still going to get the opportunity to see the video. Otherwise, the text can be a little misleading when it just says click on me and then it doesn't do anything. So be prepared to take what you find and make your own modifications and adjustments using the tricks and techniques that we've already learned in the first two videos. Now, before I leave this Bitmoji piece, I want to look at one final thing back in the Bitmoji handbook, and that is slide 275. Right here in the middle, she's got a slide that says, this is the best resource if you really want to go down the rabbit hole of Bitmojis. And if you click this link, it's going to take you to another Google resource, and I've already clicked it because, again, it takes a moment to load. But it is this Bitmoji shared files. Now, I don't know who all the people are that have put this together. You can see Andrea Ingham is one of the key people, but I don't know who is maintaining this. This is just someone, they've shared it from their Google Drive, but they've made it available to the world. And it is unbelievable. There are so many things. If you open up the Bitmoji scene, you've got background, you've got clip art, so you've got different things there. But let's just go all the way back to the shared files, and you can see there are just virtual libraries. There are units created for different activities, read alouds, amazing videos, algebra classrooms, more backgrounds, banners, be kind things, birthday things. It just keeps going. We're only up to the C's and it just keeps going. We've got pre-algebra classes, collections of classes. Yeah, you could spend your whole weekend looking through here and finding the perfect item that you want. My advice would be do some browsing in this shared files and in the Bitmoji Classroom handbook, but don't turn it into a massive quest unless you just really love doing this, because you really will look up and realize you've spent an hour of time and you haven't created anything in your classroom yet because you're still just looking at all the resources that are out there. So manage your time well. But there are so many resources. And obviously you could just Google and find more things. But these two resources alone will probably provide almost everything you could want. And they're just amazing resources that are free for you to use. All right, I've been promising you resources. Here we go. Are you ready? You may have to pause the video a few times to write down some things because we're going to look at a lot of websites in the next few minutes. So let's get started. Let's begin by looking at some sites that you might use if you need to edit some of the photos that you have taken yourself or that you find online that you want to incorporate into some of your graphic work. There are a lot of editing sites out there that are free to use. I have picked a few of my favorites that I want to share with you. Some of these will offer way more features than you will ever need, but still, you might want to use them for certain things. So let's go with this one, Lunapic. Lunapic is a great photo editor. It is one of my favorites that I use when I have a group of people, but some of them don't have permission to have their photos shared online, or they don't want their photos shared online. Lunapic is a great place to blur faces. So let's just upload a photo and let me show you exactly how I mean and how easy it is to do that. We're going to work with just a group of kids here, assuming that you would have taken a group of kids, maybe photos of your students or whatever. This is already kind of large, but that's okay. If I needed to change the size, I can scale the size here. I can rotate it. I can crop my image. I can add frames. So you can see I can do a lot right here at the top of the photo. I also have many options in the pull-down menus, things that you can do to edit the photo. It's fun to come in and play with these sometimes, see what kind of creative things you can do. But for me, this is a matter of I need to blur a face because one of these faces I can't show in a presentation or online or however it is that I want to use this photo. And so we are going to say this young man right here in the center, whoops, right there in the center, with that nice smile, we're going to have to blur his face. And I'm going to do that by coming to the Draw menu. And in the Draw menu, way at the bottom, you will see it has a feature just for blurring a face. So I'm going to click that, and then it reloads my photo and says select the area of the photo to blur and then apply. So to select the area, I'm just going to click and draw an oval right over his face. And then when I click apply, it will blur that area. Now, unlike some more powerful photo editing software, I can't come back and click it again to make the blur stronger. In some places you can keep making it blur more and more until the face is really almost impossible to tell it was even a face. I can't do that here, but the blur feature is usually enough. If it wasn't, if I still felt like that face was recognizable, I would just come back, choose blur a face again, and I would just draw a second oval right over that first one and apply the blur again, and that will double the strength of the blur. And I could keep doing that if I needed to. So Lunapic, great site for lots of features, but especially a site for blurring faces if you need to. Other editing things that you might want to do, we've already talked about removing a background from a photo. Remove BG is a great site for that. A second site, Photo Scissors, does the exact same thing. It removes the background. It does a little more with letting you customize what's removed if you really want to hold on to certain aspects of it. So you can play around with that if you want, but it easily takes the background out for you. Other editing options. Photopea is a great one. It has very similar tools to Photoshop and Lunapic. All the kinds of pull-down menus, but if you are really wanting to work at a deeper level with more layers and those kinds of things, Photopea will let you do that. I would say if you are going to use Photopea, you need to set aside some time to learn the tools and the techniques. It's a more intense graphic editor than what we've been doing here in this sort of basic set of videos. Same for Pixlr. I use Pixlr a lot. The advanced photo editor is pretty easy. I find Pixlr to be like that nice intermediate level editor. It's got lots of powerful tools, but not so many that I feel like I need to spend a week reading the manual. If you do want to spend a week reading the manual, you would go with GIMP. GIMP is probably the most powerful and most widely known online image editor. It does have a lot of powerful tools. It is one that will take some time to get to know unless you are pretty familiar with photo editing. But if you really need to do some higher level photo editing, take your time to learn GIMP. Finally, you may find that you have a photo that's big and beautiful, but you want it to be smaller. And I don't mean smaller in size, and like now it's not 8 inches wide, now it's 5 inches wide. I mean smaller in size. I don't want it to be 10 megabytes, I want it to be 2 megabytes. Tiny PNG is the best photo compression that I can find that's free to use. You just take a photo, drag it right in here in the middle, and it will compress that photo for you. If you're wondering how it does it, it will explain that to you. It will show you, here is a file that has been reduced by about 2/3 the size. You really can't tell the difference. So if you are needing to load things into a website or Google Classroom or Seesaw or whatever, and you want to reduce the size just so that things load faster, this is a way that you can do that. All right, enough with photo editing. Let's drop those out of our way and let's go grab something different. Let's look at what we need to do if you just want to play with icons and emojis as a part of your work. Emojipedia is a great place to start. It lets you find any emoji that you want, but it also says, well, here's our most popular ones. You can do a search. The key piece about Emojipedia is it tells you what it is. Let's say we click on these double hearts. And by that I mean it gives you the meaning of each emoji. What is the standard definition of that? So when people do the double hearts, it sort of says love is in the air. This is something you would send to someone that you really cared about. If you sent the pleading face, it describes it to you, furrowed eyebrows, small frown, puppy dog eyes, kind of a begging face. Could also represent adoration. So there are different things, but if you want to make sure you're sending the emoji that really communicates your meaning and doesn't have some alternate meaning that you're not aware of, Emojipedia is a great place to come and check and make sure that it's the emoji that you want. If it is, they all have the little copy button. You just click copy, and then you can go right into your Google slide or your email or wherever you're working and hit paste. Emoji Copy is pretty much the same. The only difference is now you're not looking at definitions. Now you're just looking at all the emojis, and you can scroll through and find the emoji you want. You can come up to the search bar and search for one. Once you find the thing you want, let's get the laughing face here. You click it, you copy it, and you go paste it wherever you need it. Here's a cool little tool. This puts the emojis in for you. So if you have a list of things that you want, so let's say the things that I need are hard drives, keyboards, monitors, and I say emojify my list, it just picks random emojis and assigns them to them. Now, if it can find an emoji that matches your word, it puts that in place for you. If not, it just puts in an emoji that it thinks would be representative. You can then hit copy that link, that list, and paste it wherever you need it. And so you have emojified your list without you having to go and find all the individual emojis. But it's not always about just emojis. It can be about graphic symbols as well. So let's reload this site, see if we can get everything to load here. All right, so these are symbols that you can get. So I've copied this to the keyboard. That's just that little symbol. But as you scroll down, you'll see there are more. I could copy the letter H. Really, this is just sets of basic symbols and alphabet letters where you can go through and copy them and paste them. So if you need that kind of item, particularly in, if you're writing text, or if I need to show like the delete key symbol to someone in a tutorial, this is where I would come and find some of those glyphs. And so it's very handy for looking at keyboard commands and those kinds of things. If you're just looking for random images, FreeSVG has a lot of them. You can search for the kind of graphic that you might want. Let's say we want to search for thumbs. We're looking for thumbs up maybe. And we do a search and it comes back with all kinds of thumb things. And if we find the one we want, we can just right click on it. We can copy that image and paste it wherever we need. We can also just single click on it, it opens it up larger, and then we can download it and then use it over and over. So FreeSVG allows us to do that. Free Vector Icons is a site that does almost the same thing. I don't need to sign in right now. It has them grouped by category sometimes. It gives you nice both color and black line drawings. There are some premium packs, so you can avoid anything that shows the little crown in front of it. But if it doesn't have the crown, then it is free to download and use. Finally, the Noun Project. Also a place where you can grab free icons for all kinds of things and also free photos. The only issue with the Noun Project is that these are all copyright images. So if you use them, they do ask you to make a note somewhere about the copyright. Otherwise, they would like for you to join them. You can just start searching and downloading things here as well. So you can, you find all your thumbs and you can take them and download them. They would say, get this icon, and they're going to want you to like give it some little bit of a creative item. They're really going to want you to log in with your free account. I have done a paid account for 1 year just to try it out. It's $40. That lets me not just get this icon, but I can choose all kinds of settings about I would like it to be this color, or I would like to rotate it this way. What size do I want it? Do I want it to be a JPEG or a PNG? Gives me lots of extra options. So I'm just trying that for a year and seeing how that works with some of my graphics work. But so those are some sites for emojis and just for basic graphic items. All right, let's keep going. Let's work with text, because we've talked about taking text and turning text into a graphic object. Text Giraffe is one that we've talked about. It's been a tip of the week. We've looked at it before. I can take any text, put it in there, click go, and it will give me hundreds of ways to view my name as a graphic object. And so I can click on the item and download it. And then I would be able to use it however I want it. I can just keep going here. I can do all kinds of things. I can see my name. When I finally say, okay, I want my name in pastel, and I click download, it will give me options of 5 different sizes. I tend to go pretty large because I can always shrink it down. But if I go really small, it's hard to make it bigger. So Text Giraffe, a great way to just take your text and turn it into a graphic object. Similarly, here's a place where you can just type in if you just need your text to look more graphic oriented. Let's put in a paragraph that says, today is Friday and I'm looking forward to the weekend. And it automatically converts that text into so many different ways to look at it. And when I find the way that I want it, then I can select that, copy, and paste it into whatever I need it, whether it's a graphic object, like in a slide, if I'm putting it into an email, wherever you can paste it, it can go there. And you can see that it's going to give you so many options. Next, I'm going to come over to curving my text. And here is where I can put in some text. So I can enter whatever I want my text to be. Welcome to my channel. Okay, let's say I've got a YouTube channel that I want to welcome you to. I can select the font. I can change all my font styles. I can change my font size. And then once I get it the way I want it, I can have three options. I can just right-click on it and save that as an image. I can click there to download, or I could just email it to myself as a graphic object. That's how you can get curved text into your designs in your Google Slides. When you put in a text box in Google Slides, you're just typing text in a straight row. This lets you add curved text. Let's go to PicFont. This is where you can upload a picture, and then you can use their tools to put the graphic words that you want over the front of your picture. Now, obviously, we know you can already do that in your Google Slide or in Google Drawing. You can put in your photo, and then you can layer text boxes or word art over the top. This is just a website that kind of does that for you a little bit. It gives you a few extra options if you want. So if you want to make it fancier, you can come here and give that a try. Finally, you may want to just use a bunch of words and have those words become a word art for you. You would just create. It's going to ask you for the words that you want to use. And so we would just start typing in words. So we've already got word art cloud. Let's put in photo, graphic, text. Oh, well, let's try text again without the Y. We've got text and texty. Web. Oh, art's already up there. So let's say that's enough words. All right. We can play. Do we want them all uppercase, lowercase, capitals, whatever? But let's click visualize. It's going to take our words and show us a visual option for there. So we can see all the words that got included. Now, this is where I could switch to all uppercase if I wanted. And click visualize again. You'll see it turns them all into uppercase letters. I can now play with my shapes. Do I want to visualize my words as a heart? I got Valentine's Day coming up soon. You can see it that way. You can see it as a number. You can see you've got so many options for how you want to do that. You just keep clicking the items and click visualize until you find the one you want. I can change my font style. Right now it's in something called Slacky, but I can go to Simple Slum G and change my text. So you can see there are just options that you can keep working with. Eventually, you will have it the way you want, and you can just come up to the top and click download. And you can download it as a standard PNG or a standard JPEG, and then you can include that in a newsletter. You can include that in an email. You can include that in your Bitmoji Classroom. You can put it wherever you need. You have taken your words and turned them into a graphic object. All right, we're getting close to the end. Don't worry, we're getting there. Two things that just let you take your photo and turn it into something fun. Here you would just upload your photo, and then you would turn it into the item that you see here. So let's say I wanted to be in the smoke flare. I would choose a photo. I would choose the smoke flare that I wanted. I would click go, and it would happen. Now, it takes a couple of minutes for it to render, so I really already got a couple of photos that I've done over here that I'm going to open up and just share with you. I use this site to put my face into the top of my latte. That's kind of a cool effect. And I used it just to give myself sort of a pencil sketch look. But you can see it does the work for you. You just choose the design that you want. You've got a lot of options to choose from. Valentine's Day is coming up, so you can put yourself in a flower or on a bottle of wine or in a locket. You make the choices. You put in your photo. Big Huge Labs does a similar kind of thing. It lets you turn your picture into, let's say, a jigsaw puzzle. You just choose the file that you want. I will choose this picture of me that I had ready to go here, and I create. And it will create, now my face is a puzzle, and I can just download that and use that as an object. Big Huge Labs has lots of different choices for you. You can put yourself on a cover of a magazine. You can be on a calendar. You can be on a trading card. You can see there's lots of options. And that's going to bring us to a close for our 3-part video series of working with graphics. I hope that you have found the tips and techniques and resources all things that you will find beneficial as you work with graphics, whether you're creating learning resources, doing an arts and crafts activity, preparing materials to share with families, or whatever. And I hope that as you play around with some of these things and as your skills improve, you'll find that you really enjoy working with graphics.